Okay, guys. I'm so disappointed in myself. I didn't wear matching socks today. Nobody gets to look. That's why this class is so hard. Because I want everybody to focus on what they're doing and not on my feet. Okay? Ooh. See, it was on purpose, guys. I did this on purpose for the sake of the class. No, honestly, though, today is the hardest class we have this session. Don't let that scare you, please. I don't know if I was too scary in the Teams chat or not, but there's plenty of modifications. I even wrote myself little notes where I need to add in the modification today, so don't be too worried. This is a strength-focused day. It is a Tuesday, so it's going to be a little bit tougher in terms of like the muscle burn you will be feeling. You might be feeling it a little bit tomorrow. It's Luke's fault, remember that. With that being said, remembering to take our own modifications, ask me for a modification, push back in a child's pose if you're feeling sore, take your breaks. Please take your breaks. You don't know when I take a break because it seems like it flows with the class, but there have been plenty of times where I'm like, ooh, I'm a little sore, so I'll push back in a child's pose. I do it too. Don't be afraid to do it. I don't even see it, so don't feel embarrassed at all either. We will be on our knees for a little bit today, so if you want to get a knee pad, feel free. If you're at home, grab a pillow, grab a blanket. Up to you, completely up to you. We will be using the blocks as well, so if you have anything that you can use at home for a block, feel free. If not, that's okay. You don't necessarily need it either. We will be lifting the blocks, so I know a few of you at home have found different things that are easy to use for a block that you can lift as well. Even if you have a cereal blocks, it helps. It just helps with form and using the right muscles at the right time. But if you don't have it, it's completely okay. You can definitely do it on your own. Again, I will be adding those modifications, but let's try to take today's class a little bit slower, remembering to breathe in between all of our movements. Breathing is really important, especially for stretching and muscle use. That's how we're getting our oxygen to our muscles. So just making sure we're doing that. I promise it helps, especially in power movements. So if you're lifting up and you do an exhale as you lift, using the energy that you're gripping from the ground to help you rise. So just remembering we're doing that as well. I will repeatedly remind you, I've looked back at a couple videos and I say breathe a lot. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get started either on our knees or in a cross-legged position. If you have watch, don't forget to start it. That being said, we're just going to go ahead and do reaches forward and reaches back, warming up those shoulders. I don't know if they're sore or not, but it is a good warm-up. Remember, length through our fingertips. As we reach back, exhale, trying to deepen that stretch. Inhale, reach. Exhale, reach back. Expanding through the chest, trying to pull our shoulders away from our ears. We don't want to shrug here. Feel free to add a little lean forward too if you want more core engagement. Squeezing through that core, finding length through the top of your head, into the tips of your fingertips. For one more, we're going to reach forward. This time, as we reach back, we're going to leave our palms together and pulse them, trying to put both of our pinkies to touch each other. If you can do that, good on you. I can't even do that, but we're just reaching, still pulling those shoulders away from our ears, squeezing our scapula together, engaging those triceps a little bit, taking those deep breaths, finding a good warm-up. For 2, 1, and pulling our hands in front of us, twisting our arms, lifting up through those elbows. You should be feeling this in your shoulders and your pecs and underneath of your scapula here in your subscapular area. Gently breathing here, and on those exhales, trying to lift your elbows a little bit further up. Deep breaths. Exhale, we're untwisting, going straight into those 90s, pinching the pencil between your shoulder blades. Reach up, lower, close. Trying to engage your entire back here. Should feel it in your shoulders a little bit. Still remembering to breathe. Might be feeling it in your pecs a little bit too. You almost feel like there's a magnet between both of your forearms, pushing them away, and you're trying to squeeze them closer together. For one more, reaching up, pull back. This time we're wrapping the other arm over top and lifting our elbows to the sky. Again, we're trying to feel this in our shoulders, in our subscapular area. You might feel a bit of a stretch in your sternum or in your pecs. Every exhale, lifting those elbows up a little bit more. Deep breaths. Holding here for another 10 seconds. Really relaxing into this stretch here. Exhale, swing our arms behind us, reaching, and if you can, interlacing those fingers, lifting your chest up to the sky, rolling out your neck, finding the point of any tension, slowly trying to pull just a little bit more, stretching that out until you feel a release, and then moving on to the next point of tension. Breathing into these stretches here. Taking one more deep breath in, and on that exhale, we're just going to lean forward, slowly coming into that child's pose. Trying to lift our arms up a little bit higher. One big deep breath in. Exhale, lowering your arms, walking your hands in front of you. Finding a nice, gentle child's pose. Taking a moment here to bring awareness to all four corners of your body. Might try wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes, feeling your forearms pressed into the mat. Coming in control of your breathing. You might try box breathing here. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold, and repeat. Taking another deep breath in. On your next exhale, you're going to push yourself up, finding that tabletop position, shoulders stacked over the heels of your palms, trying to keep that pressure off of your wrist joints. Hips should be stacked over your knees. Still putting that pressure in the heels, lifting your left arm up, reaching through your fingertips, and swinging it around, wrapping it behind your back. This is a good stretch for mobility and balance. As long as you're pushing through your knees, keeping your core engaged, squeezing it the entire time. Trying to expand through that mobility in your shoulder. One more deep breath in, really reaching behind your back. When you're ready, we're gonna go ahead and lift that left arm up to the ceiling, taking a deep stretch here, really reaching through those fingertips. And on that exhale, we're wrapping all the way through, threading the needle. Finding a twist through that spine, slowly trying to walk your fingertips a little bit further. Taking another deep breath in. Exhale, we're coming all the way back up. We're going to twist on that right knee, opening up to the wall to your left, kicking that left foot out and straight, reaching over your head with your left arm. Go ahead and try to pick that heel up off of the ground. We're lifting our left foot all the way, staying strong through our core here. We're bringing elbow to knee. Reaching back out again, elbow to knee, squeezing that core, pushing through your right glute, staying balanced, gripping with all 5 fingers on your right hand. Remembering to breathe. this is uncomfortable in any way, feel free to take this all the way to the ground, setting your hip down on the floor, resting on your forearm. Remembering to breathe. Inhale as you reach for length. Exhale as you crunch in for 2 more. Last one. Extending all the way, leaving that foot up. We're going to come in for 8 baby pulses. For 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Lowering all the way back down to the ground on both knees. Coming up, reaching overhead with that right arm. Feel free to grab a block, finding that half camel here. Finding a nice gentle breath. Holding here for 1 more deep breath in. Exhale, we're coming all the way back up to center, walking our hands back down, finding that tabletop position. Now, this next movement can be kind of difficult. That's okay. If it is, feel free to take it down to bird dogs, but we're going to come all the way up into a high plank, lifting opposite arm and opposite leg. Still engaging through the core. If this is difficult for you, go down to your knees, lift up opposite arm, opposite leg. Whatever is comfortable for you. This is a challenge to your balance, challenge to your core. Pushing through, shifting your weight, engaging each glute. You might find that one side has better balance than the other. Keep note of this for 1 more. Lowering all the way down to your knees. Take a deep breath in here. And on that next exhale, we're kicking our left leg up. And we're just going to pulse that leg. Slowly get adjusted to engaging our left glute. Finding a little bit of heat and a little bit of energy being generated here. Still staying strong in our core. Breathing the whole time, keeping a slight bend in those elbows. For 2 more. Finding stillness at the top, straight into those Pilates push-ups, lowering down. Pushing all the way back up. Deep breath in, lowering down. Using that exhale to push yourself all the way up. Is it getting hot in here, or is it just me? Feeling a little bit of a burn through your arms and that glute. For 2 more, squeezing that core. Last one, pushing up. Go ahead and bend that knee. Kick that foot straight up into the ceiling. For 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, really squeezing. 1, lowering all the way down. Deep breath in. Go ahead and take some spine circles here. Giving yourself a little bit more love. I know today's a little bit harder. Remembering to breathe. Keep that blood flowing. When you're ready, meeting back in center, finding stillness, lifting up our right arm, reaching through those fingertips, wrapping it all the way around our back. Reach and wrap. Slowly trying to increase the mobility within our shoulders, staying strong through your core. Trying not to get too angry at me for turning the thermometer all the way up before class today. Go ahead and wrap around 1 more time, really reaching through those fingertips. On that exhale, we're wrapping up, fingertips to ceiling, finding that mobility through our chest. Deep breath in. Exhale, wrapping all the way around, threading that needle. Trying to walk our fingertips a little bit further through every inhale. Finding a nice stretch through our shoulders, through our spine. Deep breath in. One more inhale. On that next exhale, rising all the way back up, tabletop position, pivoting on that left knee now, planting our left hand in the ground, reaching up through the right overhead. Go ahead and lift that right leg off the ground. We're bringing elbow to knee on that exhale, squeezing our core. Reaching back out and squeeze. Using our breath, trying to make this easier on ourselves, for ourselves. Lifting through that glute. Making sure the only thing moving here is that arm, crunching that core, that leg. For 2 more. And last one. Reaching all the way overhead for 8 baby pulses in that leg, going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, lowering all the way down. Lifting up to center, finding that half camel pose, reaching left arm overhead. Feel free to grab that block here if you need any additional support. Slowly trying to deepen this stretch. Feel free to roll out your wrists here if they need a little bit more affection. On that next exhale, we're coming all the way back to center, finding that tabletop position. This is going to be everybody's favorite. Option to stay and do bird dogs or lift all the way up, finding that high plank. Reaching opposite arm, opposite leg off the ground, engaging that core. This is a more intense movement. Trying to take this slow and at your own pace. Deep breaths in. For 2 more. Last one. Lowering all the way down to those knees. Lifting that right leg up. Taking those little pulses, engaging that glute. Generating a little bit of heat, a little bit of energy. Squeezing through the core. Slight bend in those elbows, keeping that pressure off of your wrist joints. Deep breaths. Finding stillness up in center, leaving that leg up. We're dropping down for a few Pilates push-ups. Staying engaged through our arms. Squeezing through that core, using that exhale to lift yourself back up. For 2 more. Last one, pushing up. Go ahead and bend that knee, kick that foot all the way up to the sky. Squeezing through that core. Engaging that glute. Using your breath. Paying attention to your muscles. 1 more deep breath in. Lowering that knee all the way to the ground, pushing back. Finding that child's pose. Feel free to roll out your wrists here. Take little rocks. Option to rock all the way to the left side, walking your fingertips, finding a stretch through that right side body. Getting your breathing back in order. If you're still with me, feel free to walk back to center, then reaching all the way to the right. Finding that stretch through your left side body. Deep breaths in. Letting your body know it's okay, it's safe to stretch. On your next exhale, we're walking back to center, finding that tabletop position, pushing through the heels of our palms, curling our toes underneath of us, pressing through middle and pointer finger. We're lifting up, finding downward dog. Pedaling our feet here, waking up the backs of our legs. Pushing through your back, slight bend in those elbows. One deep breath in. That next exhale, we're kicking up our left leg, pointing it all the way to the ceiling. Option to stay here or bend that knee and tilt those hips to the left. Deep breath in. On your next exhale, you're bringing knee to chest, stepping between those palms. Feel free to lower your knee here, coming all the way into a low lunge. Finding a nice stretch through your hips. Feel free to rock here as you try to increase that depth. Trying to keep that knee stacked over your ankle. If you're looking for a bit more of a quad stretch, feel free to lift that back leg up, reaching back with your hand. Remembering to breathe. If you need a bit more balance or support, you can always grab that block or any chair that's next to you. Just remembering to breathe. Holding here for one more deep breath in. On that next exhale, you're going to make sure you want to have your blocks ready and next to you. This next movement can be a bit challenging. That's okay. There's always a modification. From here, we're in our low lunge. We're reaching our hands overhead, curling our back foot underneath of us, rising into that high lunge. Modification here, go ahead and reach all the way down, grabbing those blocks next to you, pushing off with that left glute. You're coming all the way up into your modified warrior 3. For one deep breath in, holding here, finding your balance. Exhale, lowering back down into that lunge, tapping that knee on the ground, lifting your hands up. Trying to form our mobility within our hips, leaning forward, finding strength in our core, engaging those muscles. If you're looking to increase the intensity here, feel free to do this without a block. Lowering that leg down, tapping that knee. Option to rise, finding high lunge, pushing off with that left leg, coming all the way into that warrior 3. If you still need that modification, that's okay. This is a complicated compound movement. Deep breaths in. Go ahead and do 2 more, lowering that knee, engaging that left glute. And lowering our foot back down, coming into our favorite little baby pulses for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, lowering that knee all the way down to the ground, stretching that leg fully, finding that modified pyramid pose. If you want to make this a flow, feel free to bend and straighten whatever's comfortable to you. Whatever makes you feel most relaxed in this stretch. Taking another deep breath in, coming back up, finding center. Bringing our fingertips to our temples. Careful not to bring them behind your head. We don't want to shrug down here. But from this position, we're going to wrap around, tapping elbow to knee, lifting back up, and reaching back with that right hand. Back to center, opposite elbow, opposite knee, lifting up, reaching back with that right hand. Still remembering to breathe here. For 2 more. And last one. This time as we come up to center, we're walking our hands down. Feel free to grab the block here. Use it for height support. Pushing that knee out. Finding a deeper stretch for our hips here. An opportunity to take a break, relax. Deep breaths in. Taking one more deep breath in. And that next exhale, we're kicking that left foot back, lowering down onto both knees, slowly lowering all the way to our stomach, pushing through the tops of our fingertips, gently rising, lifting our chest off the ground, finding that baby cobra. Deep breaths in. On that next exhale, we're pushing ourselves back up, finding that tabletop position. Since everybody had so much fun, we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. Go ahead and curl your toes underneath, push through the heels of your palms, rising all the way up, finding that downward dog, pedaling out your feet, waking up the backs of your legs. Guys, isn't this so exciting? One more deep breath in. Exhale, lifting that right foot all the way up to the sky, pointing those toes. Option to bend that knee and tilt those hips to the right. Deep breath in. Now your next exhale, you're bringing knee to chest, stepping that foot between your hands, slowly lowering down, finding that low lunge. Remembering to breathe through this stretch here. Trying to increase the mobility through your hips. Trying to keep that knee stacked over your ankle. Option to lift that back foot up and reach back with your hand, finding a deeper quad stretch. Just remembering to breathe. Guys, it's hot in here. That's my bad. And when you're ready, we're lowering that foot if you'd grabbed it, making sure we have those blocks handy, bringing them right next to us. Again, we're entering that lunge flow that I heard everybody loved so much. When you're ready, pushing up with that back leg, finding that lunge, using that right glute, pushing off, lifting into a modified warrior 3. Deep breath in here as you reach the top, finding that balance, slowly lowering yourself down, still keeping that core and that glute engaged, tapping that knee to the ground, lifting up, lower, push off, and lift into that warrior 3. Feel free to take that other higher intensity portion and not use the blocks. If you're looking for a challenge here, you might also find that one side had better balance than the other. That's completely okay. We are humans. We are unsymmetrical people. Just paying attention, taking breaks when you need them, taking modifications. For 2 more, lifting up, finding modified warrior 3. Lowering down, tap that knee. For 1 more, push up, squeezing that glute, squeezing your core, and lowering all the way back, finding either a high lunge or a low lunge, coming straight into those little baby pulses for 1, 2, squeezing that glute, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Go ahead and lower all the way back down. Taking deep breaths in, getting yourself readjusted here. We're bringing our fingertips to our temples, not behind our head. And we're just going to do that twist. Opposite elbow, opposite knee, lifting back up to center, reaching back. Center, opposite elbow, opposite knee, lifting back up, and reach. Squeezing that core. Doing this at your own pace, challenging yourself. For 2 more. Last one, opposite elbow, opposite knee. Lifting back up, reaching back, coming back to center. Feel free to grab onto one of those blocks, pushing our knee to the outside. Bring a little bit more depth through our hips. Feel free to walk that foot to the outside of your mat too, if that feels comfortable. Taking deep breaths in. Holding here for another 5 more seconds, really trying to expand through your hips, finding that depth. On that exhale, we're pushing ourselves up, slowly lowering down onto our glutes. Deep breaths here. Go ahead and bring both feet together, finding a little butterfly position. Feel free to rock here. Bring our elbows to the insides of our thighs. Remembering to breathe, feel free to roll out your neck, looking for the point of any tension. 1 more deep breath in. On your next exhale, we're reaching up, kicking that left hand back. Feel free to fall onto that forearm and reaching that right arm over. If you don't have the mobility to fall on your forearm, that's okay. Come all the way up, pressing through the heel of your palm. Slowly work towards increasing that mobility. Deep breath in. When you're ready, we're going to flow into the other direction, wrapping all the way in front of us and reaching up overhead with that left hand falling onto that right forearm. Still breathing here. Holding here for another 5 seconds, making sure we have a block handy before we enter the core segment of today's class. Deep breath in, exhale coming all the way up, again grabbing that block, kicking our feet out directly in front of us. Exhale, lowering down vertebra by vertebra. We're going to grab that block, lifting it directly over our head, tilting our pelvic floor up and in. We're pushing off, squeezing our glutes, pushing through the heels of our feet, finding that glute bridge. Holding here for 1 deep breath in, and then lowering down. Deep breath lifting up, squeezing those glutes, pushing through the heels of your feet. Exhale, lowering down. Doing this with your breath at a pace that's comfortable for you. For 2 more. Pushing through your hip bones, squeezing your glutes. Last one. This time we're going to hold at the top. We're going to march our feet, alternating, kicking that left one up and lowering it down. Shifting our weight, squeezing our left glute, kicking our right one up and lowering down. Alternating here. Still trying to keep that pelvic floor up and in, squeezing through your glutes as you alternate. For 2 more. And last one. Go ahead and lower your glutes all the way down back to the ground. Put that block off to the side. Deep breath in. Go ahead and just rock your hips here. Taking one more big deep breath in. We're going to rise all the way back up to that seated position, planting our palms directly behind us. So we just introduced that glute bridge. We're going to do a reverse plank. It's very similar. We're still tilting our hips up to the sky, holding here. Option to increase the intensity if you'd like by picking one foot up and alternating, whatever's comfortable for you. Working those deep core muscles, working those triceps, breathing with every alternating foot left. For one more. Lowering all the way down to our glutes, reaching up overhead, diving for our feet. Trying not to hollow out that lower back. Looking for a stretch through our legs, through our shoulders. If you still have your block handy, go ahead and put it in front of you, right in between your feet. We're going to press back for that modification, putting our weight somewhat into our feet, in our palms, but we're going to lift our feet up and over the block, lowering them back down, up and over, squeezing that core, lowering them back down. If you'd like a bit more of a challenge, feel free to do this without your palms on the ground, making sure you're squeezing your core the whole time. The overall goal here is to leave our chest lifted, work towards a bit of a shake through our core. For one more. One last tap over the block. Go ahead and kick our feet to one side, and we're just going to do arcs over top. Engaging those obliques. Taking deep breaths. Slow and in control, keeping that chest lifted, that core engaged. Option to increase the intensity, you can flip that block onto the highest setting. Just remember to breathe. Trying to get a little bit of a shake through our core. Engaging those hip flexors for one more. And last one. Go ahead and lower all the way back down onto your back. Don't lose that block though. We still need it. Deep breath in, pulling those knees in, hugging them close to you, giving your core a bit of a break. Making sure we're taking one more deep breath in as we relax our core, grabbing onto your block if you have one, lifting it all the way up over our heads, kicking our feet directly up, toes pointed to the ceiling, alternating, lowering that left leg, lowering that block, lifting it back up to touch that shin, and alternating, lowering the right leg now. Still engaging that core, trying to make sure there's no space between your lower back and the mat. Should be a little bit of a shake here, feeling it a little bit in your hip flexors. It's okay. This is definitely a core burner, but we're almost done. I promise. For two more. Last one. Go ahead and set that block to the side, lowering both feet, kicking that right leg up over top of the left, grabbing on to that hamstring or that left shin, gently pulling that leg closer to you. Feel free to rock side to side here, if that feels comfortable. Giving yourself one more good final stretch as we near the end of today's class, congratulating yourself for showing up, doing an intense workout today. When you're ready, we're sending both hands to either side of our body, gently letting our hips fall to the left. Feeling a nice stretch through our pecs, our shoulders, our lower spine, and our hips. Both shoulders staying planted on the ground. Breathing deeply into this stretch here. Deep breath in, we're coming all the way back up into center, unhooking that leg, lifting our left, hooking it over our right, grabbing on to that hamstring or that shin. Option to rock side to side, finding a little bit more fluidity here. Taking those deep breaths, letting your body know it's okay to calm down. Stretch. When you're ready, we're going to lower both hands to either side of our body, gently letting our hips fall to the right, still keeping both shoulders planted on the ground. Taking one more deep breath in. On your next exhale, we're coming all the way back up to center, unhooking our left leg from our right, bringing the soles of our feet together. Slowly letting our hips open up, knees falling to either side of your body. One hand over your heart, one hand over your stomach. We're going to meet here for our last few breaths of class today. Taking this time to set our intentions for the rest of the day. Releasing any stress or tension built up throughout the day. Bring awareness to all four corners of our body. You might try wiggling your fingers, wiggling your toes. Feel the back of your head pressed into the mat. Slowly allowing yourself to sink further and further into the floor. Paying attention to the rise and fall of your chest. You might try box breathing here. In for 4, hold for 4, out for 4, hold, and repeat. Allowing yourself to fully enjoy the moment. That brings us to the end of today's class. Feel free to stay and stretch if that feels more comfortable. I know today was kind of an intense day, but don't let that worry you. Thursday, I promise, will be a good stretch. That being said, remembering to take care of ourselves tonight and tomorrow, getting rest and proper nutrition is always helpful in recovery, but Don't forget to skip movement on Thursday. I promise it helps tenfold. Other than that, thank you so much and have a good night.